the appendix. Generally, what we've provided in the future is generally on average what we've experienced over the last 10 years, and we've provided that on a go-forward basis. And this just looks at where we've been. You can see there's the average historically, building activities in the black, and looking into the future. At least over the 10 years, we're basically averaging about what we've had in the past. For the longer period, where we're getting into the harder services, we've anticipated a little bit better building activity. These are the services that are presently in the bylaw, which we've revisited. Roads, that's fairly straightforward. Related is public works. So you have the vehicles and operations center type of thing. So that's roads related. Obviously fire, municipal parking, outdoor recreation, which is parks, indoor rec, which is community centers, arenas, that type of thing. Library services, administration studies, and then water and wastewater. So that's what we considered as part of this process. And these are the calculations. I apologize for, it's a very compact table. But you can see most of the charge for single and semi-detached, the calculated charge is $11,000, $11,019. And 80% of that, roughly, is for water and wastewater. $2,700 is for the rest of the services. You can see the lion's share of that is roads. So as we go through other transportation services, that's the related to public works, about $170. Fire, very nominal, $9. Outdoor and indoor rec in total, about $770. Library, $284, and administrative studies, $123. This relationship is very similar across all the residential. If we look at medium density townhouses, about $9,700, and then the apartments range from $5,900 to $7,800. When we take a look at some of the non-residential services, for a wind turbine, if it's constructed, there'd be a contribution of about $1,500. For agricultural processing, we've mentioned that water would be the only component, so that would be $39 per cubic meter. Works out to about $3.75 per square foot for those imperial type of people. Greenhouse, large farm scale type of thing. You can see that we've got the roads and the fire and then the water, so in total it's about $5 per square foot or $52 per cubic meter. Commercial institutional is $71, and industrial is at 50%, about $35 per cubic meter. So those are the calculated charges. And what we've done is that schedule is in the bylaw, I think it's Schedule B. And then what we provided earlier is some phase-in provisions, which I have to read a little bit earlier in the bylaw, and we're phasing in those different charges. This is where I'll go through each of the different components and what, thus far, from what we've understood from our discussions with council and what's in the draft bylaws, what I'll present today. The current charge is just under $10,000, and for a single detached unit, and it's going, the calculation brings us up by about $1,000. The suggestion, and based on the discussion with council, was to round it to $10,000, and then basically phase it in over the next 5 years. And what we did was we put in the calculated charge for everything except water. And water is the one you can see each year is the one that will be adjusted over time. So all the rest of them would be at 100%, and this one would be phased in from $10,000 and basically increased by $250 a year until we hit the 5th year, where it would be just a little bit more than $250. So that's the proposed, what's in the draft bylaw currently for that. For non-residential charges, we have different categories, as you noted. This is the commercial institutional charge. Calculated charge right now is $59.24, and it would be increased over time to $71. And you can see that it would be phased in slightly over time. Once again, the variable that we'd be changing from year to year, 100% for everything except for water, and water would be the one that would be phased in over time. With this schedule, in addition to that, keep in mind that the core business area has a reduction. So with these phase-ins, whatever the applicable rate is for that period of time, then you would get the reduction. You'd only be charged 1/3 of the applicable charge. Okay? So they're being treated with an additional reduction. We take a look at non-residential, so this is basically industrial users. The charges calculated are $59, but we're looking at a reduced calculated, basically a 50% reduction. And these are the charges we'd be looking at over time. There would still be 100% and then phasing the non-residential, so we extended this off of the other schedule and basically imposed 50% of what would be there for commercial institutional. So we'd actually see a reduction in the first couple of years. It would only be in the very so actually it would be a reduction across the whole piece, stepping up to the 35 of the index rate. And then once again, there's other provisions. You have an industrial building within the core area, then you get the other exemption. This is the greenhouse farm large scale. You can see that we're only selecting certain services, and then once again those charges are being phased in over time. We're roughly at $41 right now. We started at $40.30, and then step it up over time based on the increase in the water. The next charge would be for commercial greenhouses. So these are not farm related, but they're more retail types of sales, and they'd be calculated the same as a commercial charge. So they'd be getting the phase-in over time, but they'd be paying for the full service. Once again, they're in the core business areas, then they get a reduction for being in that location. And then finally, agricultural processing. We're looking at considering just the water component, and as that's being phased in over time, the commercial side, we just be imposing that charge. Once again, you're in the core service area, core business area, you've received that further reduction. Last couple of slides are just to compare the calculated charges, the recommended charges with other areas. We had this slide last time. We've asked for a couple more communities to be put in. We've done that. So you've got quite a range here. You can see, in Essex County, you've got like Leamington, for example. Their full charge is around just over $12,000. I note these little red pieces. These are communities that have their school boards imposing a charge. Here in the county, there's no school board charge, but there, Essex County, they have those charges. You see, here are our charges right now, and based on current versus calculated, $1,000 difference. You can see other Saugeen Shores is here, Plimpton, Wyoming is about $8,000, and depending on the area and the type of charge, it reduces from there. Right next door, what I see, Park Hill. Park Hill's just below $12,000. On the non-residential side, you can see for commercial, the calculated charges are at the higher end. A number of different municipalities are like Sarnia, St. Thomas are in the $5 range, and then a lot of them are grouping in the $2 to $3 range. And then on the industrial side, you'll see that some of the municipalities are fully exempted